We're back with more MLS this weekend with MLS Matchday 15 as Rivalry Week continues after a full midweek slate. We've got more this weekend with 14 games all on Saturday, continuing Rivalry Week. LAFC are the one team off, while teams like SKC, New England, and Dallas all didn't play on Wednesday and should be rested. Let's get into it. If you want more MLS content as well, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, become a member of the YouTube channel. You can visit the Shred the Spread website and also share your picks down there in the comments. Hopefully this information helps you in making these bets or similar bets that you like just by listening to the information. Let's get into three different parlays for MLS Matchday 15, starting with Inter Miami and DC United. Miami were without Messi on Wednesday. They drew Orlando 0-0. It was just the second time they failed to score a goal this season. It was also just the third time they kept a clean sheet, and the first time they did so in 14 games. Now, I see both of those trends reverting back to the norm here on Saturday versus DC. DC just lost 4-1 on Wednesday. Previous scores for them before that had been a 3-2 win, a 2-2 draw, 2-1 win, 2-0 loss, 3-2 win, and a 1-1 draw. So DC games do typically see goals going in at both ends of the field. Christian Benteke was held off the score sheet in midweek in that Red Bulls loss, but he is tied for the Golden Boot lead with one of his opponents this week, Luis Suarez, and also with Chicho Arango from RSL. All of those guys have 11 goals. Miami won 3-1 in DC earlier this season already. Last year they drew 2-2 and DC won 2-1. Before that, it was 3-2 Miami and 2-2. So we also have a history of a lot of goals between these teams over the last few seasons. Now, looking back at all those score lines, those are a lot of games that have seen 3 or more goals, which is how I think I will bet this game here. Now, not knowing the status of Messi, he seems to be practicing, but there's no real way to know if he will start this week or only see part of the game. I think not knowing his status obviously makes this a tough prediction for this game. With him, I would expect Miami at home to beat DC here. But Miami also, they often concede goals, and they are going up against Benteke, who likely could get on the score sheet here against Miami, who doesn't play great defense usually. I think Miami could get that win with Messi in the lineup. I also think DC might be too reliant on Benteke as well, and if you get Messi in the lineup and everything's rolling for Miami here, they could also blow DC away if they can just contain Benteke, and maybe it's just a big Miami win. So to be safe, I'm just going to ask for over 2.5 goals here in case we see goals from both teams or in case we just see Miami routing DC at home. Let's go over 2.5 in this parlay. And leg number 2, let's go to New England and Philadelphia. The Union are in some of their worst form right now, losing 2-1 at home to New York City FC this week. That's their 4th straight home defeat, 6th straight game without a win as well. Yet in all of those 7 games, plus an 8th, the 2-1 win before that, have seen bets on both teams to score and over 2.5 cashing. In 16 games across all competitions, Philly has scored in 14, but they've also conceded in 14. That makes bets on both teams to score 13-3. The Revs are at the bottom of the pile in MLS. They're 29th, just 7 points. They've also scored just 9 goals. That's the fewest. They were off on Wednesday, so they will be the fresher team here. But their last game was a 4-2 loss last weekend. Not much is going right for them right now. At least they have gotten on the score sheet, though, in 3 straight games. Last year when these teams met, Philly won 3 of the 4 games, score lines of 3-0, 3-1, and 1-0, with New England winning the other game 2-1. Certainly this looks like it could be a both teams to score game. All of Philly's games are that way. They are on the road here against the more rested Revolution team. It's also hard to trust New England to do much right now, though. I'm going to simply just ask for over 1.5 goals, so as long as 2 goals come in this game some way, somehow, we'll hit that leg of the parlay. And the final third leg of this 3-gamer, Cincinnati and St. Louis. Cincinnati are slowly coming into good form now with 27 points. They're only behind Miami for 28 in the Supporters' Shield lead. Cincy beat Atlanta 1-0 on Wednesday, and they've now won 4 straight games, with other scorelines of 2-1, 1-0, 2-1, and 2-1. New striker Kevin Kelsey did leave injured, though. However, from what I've read, he and Miles Robinson are supposed to be good to go for this game. The 16 goals scored for Cincinnati is nothing too exciting, but the 10 goals they've conceded is a league best. St. Louis lost 1-0 at home on Wednesday to LAFC. That did ruin one of my parlays. I needed both teams to score there, but they did miss a PK. They had a goal called back at the last moment. They took a red card, which probably wasn't a red card, and they had another play that looked like a handball that was not reviewed. So they draw a lot of games. Fortunately, they didn't draw on the weekend, but they have 6 draws in 10. But they've also have just 2 wins in 10, and both of those games were at home. They'll be on the road here, where they have just 1 win in 15 road games across all competitions, and where they conceded a goal in 14 of their last 15, going back into last season. For this parlay, Cincinnati likely could win. should win. Double chance bet could be good. Cincinnati to score would be good, though. They have scored in 11 straight games. All I'm going to ask for is Cincinnati to get a goal in this parlay. So if we go Cincinnati to score, New England, Philadelphia over 1.5, and Miami, DC over 2.5, we can come in at minus 107 odds in that MLS parlay. Number 2, let's do another 3-gamer, starting with Minnesota and Portland. Minnesota went up 1-0 in midweek play, then down 2-1, and they drew late with the LA Galaxy 2-2 on Wednesday. They're undefeated in 4 games. They've scored multiple goals in 5 straight, while scoring at least 1 in all but 1 game this season. They've not always been tight defensively. They have allowed a goal as well in 9 of 11. Portland went down 2-0 to San Jose on Wednesday before scoring in the 74th, 80th, 90th, and 100th minutes to come back and win 4-2. Brian Rodriguez came off the bench and he had 2 goals. That lifts Portland out of the West basement up to 11th. Snaps a run of no wins in 9 games for Phil Neville's team, but it does extend the dubious streak of allowing multiple goals still in 9 games. They've also given up at least 1 goal in 13 games, that being every game so far this season. Bets on both teams to score in over 2.5 and Timbers games have cashed in 11 of their 13 games, so that always looks like a good bet for Portland. Minnesota are tied with 3 other teams on 21 points for second in the West, just 4 points back of RSL. Now the Loons won 1-0 and 4-1 last year between these teams. Certainly should be favored. They are favored to win here. The Timbers are always a good both teams to score or both teams to score in over 2.5 bets. However, they were being shut out on Wednesday on the road against a team that plays terrible defense in San Jose. They needed a PK and a red card to San Jose to finally get them rolling and to get some very late goals here. So in case that was just an aberration and luck, let's just ask Minnesota. Let's just focus this bet on Minnesota and go Minnesota over 1.5 goals themselves. Next up, Chicago Fire and Columbus Crew. Only the Revs and the Dynamo have scored fewer goals than Chicago's 12. The offense is just non-existent right now for the Fire. They lost 1-0 at home to Charlotte on Wednesday, and they've now been shut out in 5 of 6 games, and they're 0-2-4 in their last 6. The Crew have only conceded 12 goals themselves, and after navigating a balance between MLS and the Champions Cup, they had a run of no wins in 7 games. They did have 5 draws. They're not winning. They're not losing. They did get back in the win column Wednesday, beating Montreal 3-1. Despite having not many wins, the Crew have scored in 9 of 12 MLS games so far. Last year, Columbus beat Chicago 2-1 and 3-0. And then this year in March, the Crew beat the Fire again 2-1, now making Columbus 5-1-0, undefeated in 6 versus Chicago in recent matchups. It looks too easy for me to say the Crew win here. At some point, Chicago certainly has to come to life at some point, and the Crew have not been in great form in MLS yet, still having that Champions Cup final looming in the background. I think you could go Crew double chance in the parlay or simply Crew to score. That's what I'll do, Columbus to score. And finally, Austin and Sporting Kansas City. The Verde, Austin were winless in 5 games, but they are now 5-1-2 in their last 8. They won 1-0 at home to Texas rival Houston on Wednesday. SKC also suffered defeat to Houston in their last game, but it was last weekend, a 2-1 loss. They were off on Wednesday, so they will at least be rested here, but they don't come in good form. They have just 1 win in 7, and that was versus the Union Omaha in the U.S. Open Cup. And they needed an extra time to even get that win against a lower tier team. In 13 games in all competitions this season, SKC has conceded in 12 of them, all but 1. They have, though, scored in 11. Bets on both teams to score have gone 11-2. Austin have scored in 6 of 8, and at Q2 Stadium, their home stadium, they have won 4 straight. They're undefeated in 6, and they've scored multiple goals in 5 of 6, and they've scored at least 1 goal in 18 straight games at Q2 Stadium in MLS, going back into last season. Home teams won last year between them, 4-1 SKC, 2-1 for Austin. There's certainly a case to be made here for both teams to score, but Austin has kept clean sheets in 4 of their last 5 games. So let's just ask Austin to score. We'll go Austin to score, Columbus to score, Minnesota to score at least 2, coming in at plus 148 odds in this MLS parlay. Now let's go to one more, a 2-leg parlay in some of the later games on Saturday night. Let's go to Real Salt Lake and the Colorado Rapids. It's the Rocky Mountain Cup for the second time already this season. Colorado won in Sandy, Utah 2-1 back on March 9th. RSL beat Seattle 2-0 in midweek play. Colorado beat Vancouver 1-0 in midweek play. The Caps did, though, take a red card in first half stoppage time, resulting in an ensuing PK for the Rapids to get their lone goal there. RSL is first in the West, 25 points. Colorado has been impressive, though, as well this season. They're seeded 4th, but they are tied with 21 points with 3 other teams for second behind RSL in the West. RSL's 1-1 at home so far. They've scored 10 goals and only allowed 3. In In 14 games across all competitions so far this season, RSL has scored in all but 2 of those games, and those 2 were the first week versus Miami and a game versus the champions Columbus. Take out a U.S. Open Cup loss last week, and they're undefeated in 9 MLS games. Colorado has only lost 2 of 8 themselves, so they're playing pretty well, and they have scored in 12 of 13 in all games so far, as well as in each of their last 8 games. So we could see at least a couple goals here, possibly of both teams to score in this rivalry matchup. RSL do put the 5th most shots on target in the league, while Colorado don't generate quite as many shots themselves. They do have the 2nd most attacking third touches in MLS. RSL having only allowed 3 goals, though, at home so far concerns me just a bit. Certainly, you could go maybe both teams to score, over 1.5, or just RSL to score, because I'm going to use that simple piece of this parlay to pair with a both teams to score. Prediction in this next game, it's a late game, San Jose and Orlando. It's a cross-conference matchup between 2 teams that don't play very often, not since 2021, a few years back, and that was a 5-0 Orlando win. But if we come back to this season with more relevant stats, Orlando became just the 2nd team this season to keep Miami off the score sheet, albeit without Messi in the lineup. It was a 0-0 draw on Wednesday. That means it's just 2 losses in 8 games for the Lions. Orlando has scored in 8 of 11 games, but they've conceded as well in 9 of 11 this season. The Quakes know all about giving up goals. They've done so in every single MLS game this season, plus multiple goals in 11 of 13. They give up 2 goals again on Wednesday, despite going up 2-0 over Portland. They coughed up that lead and lost 4-2. The Quakes have, though, scored 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, and 3 goals in their other recent games. And really, as bad as their defense has been for San Jose, they've only been held off the score sheet twice across all competitions, and they have the 4th best XG in the Western Conference. If you look at a site like FBref, San Jose has only given up 259 more attacking third touches than anyone in the league, with the Galaxy giving up the 2nd most. So certainly Orlando should have plenty of chances. I can't see a reason for Orlando not to score against San Jose. Everybody else has so far, but San Jose at home should also get on the score sheet. Their offense still has proven to have to be pretty good as well. So let's go both teams to score, San Jose and Orlando, paired with just RSL to score, and that would come in at -117 odds for the final of 3 MLS parlays. That wraps up my MLS picks and parlays for this weekend. What are yours? Drop down all your picks there in the comments, and hopefully we all get some winners this Saturday.